Episode 15 had some highlights, but episode 16 of Dragon Ball Daima is. I actually like this episode a lot, and it's one of my favorite episodes in recent history, I guess, within the past five episodes, if I could say that. Definitely like this episode more than 15. And let me get into it, y'all. So, in this episode, the crew, well, Vegeta, beats up the brand new Ginyu Force just like he did with the original Ginyu Force, he just basically jobbed them all out, and he did the same thing to them, which shouldn't be surprising because they were underestimating their power. So this is you could kind of see this coming. That part could have been shortened down. I don't know if my hand got in that part could have been shortened down though. It took up quite a bit of the episode, over a third of it actually, and I thought, man, with these jobbers, basically. They're jobbers. And it was predictable because you knew they were weaker, so it could have been shorter, y'all. But aside from that, that was okay, that happened, but then they did a good job at the end of this episode of making you, with the cliffhanger, making you want to see the next episode. So they redeemed themselves in the end. Plus, I do like this episode, regardless of the time wasting they did have. But like I mentioned just a few seconds ago, this episode left you with a cliffhanger. What was that cliffhanger? That's right, GOMAH got the third eye. But not only that, Arinsu, Ku, and Du found the gang. They found the heroes, they found the crew, they found Goku, Vegeta, and the others. And it looks like they're about to throw down with each other. Either that, or they're going to throw down with GOMAH. But I believe they're going to throw down with each other first, and maybe Glorio might turn heel on them. He might turn on Goku and the others. Because he had this look of, oh no, on his face when Arinsu showed up. So I believe she might persuade him or threaten him to turn over. That's probably going to be the majority of what the episode is. But maybe before he can make his decision, GOMAH might turn up on them and he won't be able to make his decision. I actually thought that Kadan's people were going to turn on them in this episode for some reason, but they seem to be out of the story by this point, which, I mean, fine. You shrink the cast for the final battle. That makes sense. But what's it called? Glorio. This is like next week's predictions. Let me go over this episode. Glorio, he had that look of, oh no, on his face. But even before that, there was this scene with Glorio and Pansy where I thought Pansy had looked at Glorio at first, but it was when Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo had went through the door to go find Dende. They looked back like something's not right here. I really thought Glorio was about to turn on them then. I thought that was when he was about to do it, but looks like they're saving it for another episode if it ever happens. Or if it might just be a bait and switch where he turns on them and then realizes, wait a minute, I like you guys, I'm not turning on you. And then, he's an ally, right? Or maybe what might happen is he might end up being the last guy they have to conquer, kind of like Thausa from movie 5 and Cooler, where he ends up turning on them anyway, and then he gets up out of or he turns on them at the last second to get his wish, to get the Dragon Balls, and then they just have to off him. Kind of like what they did to Degesu in this episode. That was an awesome transition. So in this episode, they have to find, they're looking for Dende, right? The whole crew's looking for Dende, and they find him with Degesu, who puts a gun to this dude's brain, says he's about to blow his head up, just blow him, holding him hostage, right? And in the middle of this exchange he has with Shin brings up, he starts, they start, cutting promos on each other, and Goku asks Shin, he's like, oh, what do you do? What is your job? And then in the middle of this hostile takeover, right? In the middle of this hostile situation, Shin just goes, oh, I oversee peace and all this stuff in the universe. And I'm, what are you doing in the middle of this hostile situation? That didn't make any sense to me. I was like, well, what was that? He could have, brushed off Goku to the side for a bit, and then after the situation was over, been like, oh yeah, by the way, back there, what I was going to tell you was this is what my job is. But, that was weird. Kind of dumb. It was just weird, But that happened, and then Piccolo chops him, and they rescue Dende. And then after they rescue him, it's like Deges is walking the plank, essentially. That's what it looks like. He has the hat-looking things, the guru guru gum-looking things wrapped around him. and he's either gonna fall or they're gonna shoot him, and then he's gonna fall because of the gun. You don't see him get shot or fall. You don't even hear the sound of the bullets, but it's implied that they offed Degas right then and there. So I'm guessing you don't see him die here, so he might actually return later on. He might have the Thausa spot. Like he might have that go, like that might happen for Degas instead, because you don't actually see him die. He may say, "Oh, when I was shot, I got up," and who knows? They didn't actually show his termination. That's another reference, if you can call it that. And then there was a funny scene. I also want to bring up a funny scene where, well, before I get to this scene, I want to mention that girl who I thought could have been Degas in disguise, it wasn't Degas in disguise. It was a random chick. And I even mentioned that in I believe, episode 14. So yeah, you can take that away. And then GOMAH. So there's a scene where he's trying to get the eye out, and he uses a plunger. And then he pretty much just jacks the plunger off to get the eye out. And these scenes look really, really, like you had a feeling they knew what they were doing with these scenes. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. But episode 17 is looking to be, kind of how I believe it was episode 8 that got the longer preview. Episode 17 got a longer preview, and it's looking to be a good one as of right now. So stay tuned for next week. Check out the Easter eggs video I made. That's been the review. I'll see y'all in the next one.